Welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. This is my perennial garden. I do have a few annual things in here, or at least space for annual things. I do have this area planted with garlic. We did this a few weeks ago. Some of these larger plants, they had, just grown back from garlic corms from years prior, but we had planted all this out. So this here looks like elephant garlic, and this is the garlic that I got from Spice World. And it has come up. They say that if the garlic comes up before actual winter, that maybe your garlic bulbs will be smaller. That's just the option that we have here. We have got such a warm winter, most winters, and this winter was particularly warm, that it's just a fact of life. And usually, especially our elephant garlic, it's not too small. It's actually quite big. But over here, I have two beds, and this bed, I think I'm gonna put something like chamomile and calendula in this year, but this is a perennial thing. These are the Jerusalem artichokes, or what is left of the Jerusalem artichokes from this year. I bought my original Jerusalem artichoke tubers on Etsy, and they are beautiful, and I put 10 of them in here, and I figured I could just leave them. I knew they'd multiply, but I figured I could just leave them and worry about them another year next year, or I guess the end of this year, now that we're in 2026. But several people have told me, Heather, you are going to want to harvest those, I promise you. So we're gonna harvest some. Obviously I'll leave some in the bed. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Huh. There's a lot of mushroom mycelium in here, but look what just dropped down. Wow. Look at how cool that is. It's like a whole ball of them. Whoa. Look at that fat one. Wow. I could feel some rain starting. We might get rained out from this project, but that's fine. I do have a plan B project for today. Look at them all. Oh man, you guys weren't kidding. Holy cow, they're actually really far down. Oh my gosh. Look at that. They just keep coming. Oh my goodness. The bowl that I pulled out here was not big enough. As you can see, this soil here is nice and loose. Seems to be probably pretty important for the harvesting process. That's one of the 10 Jerusalem artichoke plants. And when I put them in, they were this big. And that is how much we got out of them. That's amazing. We need to go inside, we're getting rained on. What are you screaming about? It's not milk time. Almost. Oh, you've got a baby out. This baby should not be out. Watch out, Mama. You put your child back. Oh, goodness. Listen, it's for your own good. Oh, yeah, you're a big bad bunny. Listen to him. Guess I'll make sure your other two siblings are in there. They are. Go on, you go join them. In there. I was actually pretty darn sick yesterday. Stomach virus. Wasn't fun. So bare minimum chores is what I did, and my kids helped a lot too. But I do have one rabbit, one of Bao's little dumplings in here that has nest box eye, and I need to treat that. I missed yesterday. So here it is. You can probably tell something's not right. Crusty eyes, and we don't want that. This is the only rabbit that has any kind of crusty eye issue going on. This can be caused by a dirty nest. Their nest is not messy at all, and there is talk about a genetic predisposition to getting nest box eye. It's not good. It's basically pink eye. Just got some wet wipes here, and I'm going to wipe off any kind of crust and muck before I go ahead and put the antibiotics in its eye. You can treat nest box eye and pink eye with things like colloidal silver, and I have done that. I know, baby, you're doing good. But with all the antibiotics that got taken off of the shelf in, what was it, 2023? They still have some on the shelf. I guess they've got back stock or something, but of all of the antibiotics, they have left on the antibiotic for pink eye. Oh, see, I've wiped it off and you can kind of see him starting to open it, but obviously it's still inflamed and gunky. This actually does look a lot better than it did. Thankfully, I did miss yesterday's treatment, but sometimes you can open their eye up and it's quite pussy on the inside. We're not seeing that today, which is excellent. Still doesn't look great. It can affect their vision if it's not corrected pretty quickly, but in my experience, a lot of rabbits still eat and drink fine, and they go into the freezer just fine. Come here. You're okay. You're okay. I do want to clean everything off and get that eye open so that I can put the medication into the eye. See that? This little eye in there looks clearer too. When they're going blind, it kind of turns white. This is the little antibiotic that I have, terramycin. And it's in one of those metal tubes that, you know, once you squeeze it, you can't unsqueeze it, so you gotta squeeze slowly or a whole bunch comes out. Put a little on my finger. I'm gonna open his little eye. Put it right in the eyelid. And I like to kind of open and shut their eye to kind of spread it around. Okay, and then I'm gonna put it on a different finger. Try to keep my tube from getting infected. And put it in the other eye. Oh, you're okay. It's difficult to show you and to do it. I know. Good baby. Good baby. It'll be worth it, okay? Oh, it'll be worth it. Mm-hmm. Couple of Vows babies are out of the nest box. They're big enough where they could probably get back in, but when I'm first starting to notice them jump in and out of the nest box, I like to put them back in the box when I see them out, just so they understand that that's an option. Sometimes they can get kind of stuck, not because they're physically stuck, but it's like they don't understand that they can come out of the corner, and mama's not going to go in there looking for them. So I need to kind of redirect them back to where she's going to feed them, which is in the nest. This is my bunny getter. It's one of those little, I think it's an 18-inch grabber that you can get on Amazon. I've had this for a long time. This does not hurt the rabbits, but it will hold on to them. I'm actually squeezing with all my might and I can slip out. It's enough to where I'm strong enough I can get out, but the bunnies can't. This is how I can get a hold of them. Are you guys too wiggly for my grabber? Yeah, works better with real little bunnies. Go on, you guys are too big and strong. What? Come here. There we go. Whoop. 2. Really, these guys are just about big enough where they don't need a box at all. Some people will lay the box on its side, and I think that's brilliant. We are getting some actual real winter weather coming finally, I think starting tomorrow night, and so I'd like to leave their box for a little bit longer. It rained last night, and I guess the wind blew in. These alfalfa bags are wet. It's only 2 of them, but still, it's, you know, $40. So we're definitely going to want to take care of that. These are working great, by the way. I do have extra feed bins in here that I really haven't been using, mostly because when I feed the free choice alfalfa, I just feed the entire bag, so I don't feel like I have to stick it in this bin first, you know, just to then bail out an entire bag's worth of alfalfa. But I think I'm going to move it over, and if any of it's wet, obviously I'll feed that to Chloe. She'll love that. But I don't want it sitting. Now, the only place that it's really going to get wet is up at the top here. this thread that holds it closed, that is going to absorb moisture, and any feed or dust that's in contact with that is going to get moist as well. It actually looks like it did okay. None of it looks wet. It's not clumping together. Hey girl, you want some of this? That does not look like an animal cracker to me. You guys are cute. How you doing, Frenzy? She's trying to osmosis through. I don't have the animal crackers right now. To show you guys too. That's Gail. Gail has been letting me touch her when she's eating. Otherwise, I can't really get super close to her. But look. Aw, Frenzy's jealous. Are you jealous? Listen, we don't have to work on you. But this, oh, this makes me so happy that she's letting me do this. I want to show her that I mean good things. Like scritches. Huh, Gail? She's kind of chunky. Gail. She's like, yeah, well, you should talk. Aw. This is so good, Gail. I love it. Now we just need to get Melee to come around. That's gonna be a lot harder. The next day and it is time for dinner. So tonight we're actually going to be cooking some goat saddle, but I'm going to do like a quick sear on this. If you're unfamiliar with what you're looking at here, this might look kind of strange, but what we have here is essentially the back straps of the goat that's still attached to the part of the spine that was below the ribs. Now, one really important thing to know when it comes to cooking goat meat and deer meat and really probably any kind of other meat is that certain cuts have what's called a silver skin. And I'm not sure if that's exactly what I'm removing here. It feels like it. This is what we've been calling silver skin for as long as we've been processing our own animals, which is, 6 years at this point. But it's this silvery, sinewy bit. I'm not really worried about the fat. Goat fat is delicious, but if we don't remove this stuff, it's very, very chewy. Now, we do not have to worry about this if we're slow cooking the goat or if we're canning it or if we're roasting it, low and slow. But when you are doing a quicker cook, like for a steak or a stir fry, you really do want to get this out because this is very chewy. This probably seems a little bit fussy and technical, which is why I do leave it until I'm ready to cook it. When we process our goats, we just are trying to essentially get them, pieced out or quartered and put in the freezer, and then I can worry about these fussy bits when it comes to cooking them. I'm sure we originally learned this method somewhere from like the Bearded Butchers or Steven Ranella, but this is a really fun hack. I saw Levi do this one time and it didn't take me very long to learn how to do it myself. Essentially, you want to give yourself a little bit of a starting point. So you want to separate that white, silvery, kind of tendony bit away from the meat and give yourself something to hold on to so that when you flip the meat over, you're actually able to angle the knife slightly downward towards your cutting board and slide that silver skin right off, wasting as little meat as possible. And when you do this at first, you are going to be taking off more meat than you want. Practice makes perfect. The goats have the cutest little tenderloins. We want to cook those too. They're delicious even though they're small, and they also have this silver skin that we want to remove. This is probably some of the best tasting and most tender meat on the goat, and this is what we get off of one of our bucklings. Aw, someone wants a treat. Hi, baby. We'll harvest our broccoli in a second. He needs a treat. You're so cute. You're a good boy, sir. That was all the side shoots off of one plant. That's pretty good. We have already harvested the main head, you know, a while ago. And that might produce more. I'll leave it. This one is the center head out of this particular plant. It's not very big, but I'm gonna take it anyway because I can tell that it's ready even though it's small. You can see how the little flower buds of the broccoli are starting to spread apart, and some of them are even turning a little bit yellow. So that needs to come with us. Holy aphids, Batman. Wow, that's a lot of them. Look at them all, oh my goodness. Holy smokes. Oh, I do have a chamomile out here. Hang on, buddy, I want you in springtime. I was just chatting on our membership live stream about how I had remembered that I had forgotten that I wanted to start some chamomile from seed because I didn't harvest any chamomile last year for preserving. I did have some fresh that grew in the green stock, but it wasn't a lot. I want some to really have throughout winter. Ooh, there's a big one. Let's see, it's starting to separate. You can see the little yellow parts. It's even trying to put on a side shoot with the main head on. I do have more out here. That one could even get used soon too, but I'm gonna leave it. Look at these side shoots here. But this is plenty for our dinner, and we are getting some cooler temps, which will kind of slow things down. And those plants that look like they're gonna flower within the next week or so, they won't. They'll kind of just stay, and they'll be better tasting if I leave them on the plant versus if I harvest them and put them in the fridge. And they'll retain their nutrition. When you pick a plant, it basically instantly starts really letting go of its nutrition. So in many cases, it's better to leave a plant on if you can, if it makes sense, versus harvest a whole bunch of it just to stick it in the fridge and let the nutrients wane away. Hey, cutie. Hi, baby. I didn't bring you a proper treat. I don't want to give you any broccoli. It's gassy. This is one of Sausage's cute bunnies. Stuck him in the kids' garden. He doesn't currently have wire on the bottom of his cage. This is a male rabbit, and the male rabbits tend not to dig as much. But if he starts digging, we'll have to put some wire under there. This is his house. He's currently tied to the green stalk. Actually, what I'm going to be doing tonight is multitasking. So I happen to know that if I start a hard cheese by about 3 p.m., I can be done with the whole process and have it ready to just sit overnight in the press before bedtime at a decent hour. And sometimes I forget that I don't necessarily love having to multitask around a cheese pot while I'm making dinner, but here we are. That's what we are doing. First things first, though, I need to cut the curd and get these curds cooking. I don't have to stir the curd constantly while I'm making the stirred curd cheddar, and that is very nice because I can focus on dinner and just stir the curds about every 3 minutes or so. Because we did see quite a few aphids on the plants, I want to make sure that I soak the broccoli. I do not always do this, but that was a lot of bugs on one of those plants. Usually the aphids tend to stick to the leaves and leave the heads alone, but sometimes too you'll see little cabbage loopers inside hiding among the broccoli florets, so it never hurts to give the broccoli florets a little bit of a salt soak. that bowl of sinew. That's what we took off of the goat meat earlier. Buster loved having that on top of his dinner. Along with our broccoli and our goat, we are going to have our first taste of Jerusalem artichokes. I hear that Jerusalem artichokes can be quite gassy. Actually, some people call them fartichokes. And so because we're not exactly sure how our bodies are going to react, we're not cooking a whole ton of them. I'm gonna cook, I don't know how many pounds this was, but I'm slicing it thinly and we're going to have it alongside our broccoli. I'm actually gonna saute it in the same pan. So I'm gonna cook them very simply in some oil, and I want them to cook a little bit faster, and so I'm cutting them into some thin medallions. As far as the meat goes, it's actually going to be very simple as well. I'm just going to oil the pan with bacon fat, and I am going to alternate with some butter here in a little bit, but I just want to get it nice and hot, season the meat on both sides, and sear it really well. This isn't going to be enough to cook it through. It would be quite rare if I only seared it on the stove, and I do actually need to free up my stove for the broccoli and the Jerusalem artichokes, so I will be finishing the meat off in the oven. So the oven's preheated to 350. So with the meat seared and in the oven, the stovetop is now freed up to put our Jerusalem artichokes in the oil with a little bit of seasoning. The battery on the camera died, but suddenly we have broccoli in the pan. All I did was strain the broccoli in a colander. I didn't pat it dry or anything. The excess water on the broccoli is actually kind of nice to sort of steam it inside the pan while the meat is cooking in the oven.
Are they potatoes? Oh,
Yeah, they're not potatoes. But if anybody wants carbs, we still have bread from earlier. Okay?
Those things are good.
Do you want a Pepsi?
Those things are good?
It's ginger.
It's not ginger.
Is it? It's crunchy. I thought it was going to be woody.
No. So I've heard that the Jerusalem artichoke has a texture like water chestnuts. I haven't had one yet. I'm serving the kids first. Tastes like what?
Pig.
Pig, it's not. I have heard that some people say goat tastes like pork.
Tastes like pig deer.
Pig deer. That's actually a very good description. Alright, here's my portion. That's what it looks like in better lighting. Glorious. We're actually gonna have a movie night tonight, so we're eating out here. Now I will report back if the fartichoke comes true for us. Someone thought it was pickles.
Yep.
Wow. You know, I think what they did was they absorbed that Worcestershire really well that I put in there. That's a great texture. I really hope this works out well for us digestively. Of course, goat. Remington. Out this morning. I think it's the runt from Promptly's litter keeps getting out. It's been cold at night, so that's not good. Hey girl, are you getting ready to have your baby? We're getting ready for you to have your baby. Yeah, can we not death nap? Thank you, thank you. All right, wow.
First thing, I think they need to come out as a panel so they don't try and step on them and get tangled.
Yeah, let's grab that. You gonna grab it as a whole?
Yes. Actually, yeah, if we stand across from each other.
Okay.
Maybe.
Uh-huh. Watch out, girls. Is it too hard to sandwich it?
Maybe like this.
Oh.
This actually isn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
You mean I'm not needed?
I mean, you could definitely help with the pallets and stuff because those are
Yeah.
a pain. I'm just gonna throw them all over the fence right out there.
Yeah. So, I do have another heat lamp for you to fix.
Yes, I saw. Watch out, Tiger.
Frenzy, don't break yourself. All right, what do you girls think? It's not necessarily more room to stretch their legs, but it sort of is because this is a larger space for them to literally pace while they are in labor. If you're familiar with the way the barn was set up before and you saw it as Levi was taking it apart, we had 3 separate kidding stalls here. You can kind of see the bones of them that are still left. We decided to leave the posts and those 2x4s over there in place in case we wanted to quickly put up some cattle panels, you know, for walls, and then probably another cattle panel for a door in case we needed a little bit more seclusion. But this is going to be one of the kidding spaces that we'll have for spring kidding, which starts really soon. In my more recent kidding seasons, I have closed this area off, and we likely will close this area off for kidding as well. Our goats are all due between the end of January and the 1st of March. I'll have to check exactly how many goats I bred. I can't remember. But they're not exactly bred back to back. Some of them are. So we might have 2 kiddings in one day. I know, where is she? Tori right here and her daughter Missy. Right here, this white one. They are actually due on the same day. But besides that, I feel like our kidding groups aren't super close together, and so we should be able to get away with 2 kidding stalls. And the reason that I like the bigger stall was because of what I talked about a little bit before. They have room to pace around, and I think that's good for them. It'll allow some of my bigger goats here the room to really walk and move and work baby into a good position. I really think a larger stall and that ability to move around has been the main reason that our kiddings have gone so well and have had to do very minimal full assistance, right? So it should be good. Now what we're going to do is add a gate right here. I think it's going to be attached right here where Christine is scratching her head so that it can swing out and close, and the doe can just be in here. I want to put a gate up that is kind of a mesh because I think the does prefer to be able to really see the herd. We thought about putting this door over there because this would fit in that space. That's where it actually does swing into that spot. But if the doe feels walled in, she's more likely to try and run and jump and get over, and we don't want her to be stressed. So a gate that has the kind of wiring, or even just, you know, a cattle panel here will be great. And then in theory, should we need it, we can swing the gate back this way and it'll close over here, and again we can put a cattle panel or something to make a closed off area within the larger area. Does that sound fun, Frenzy? Lots of room to move around and be in labor, but not necessarily be bothered by the other goats. Because when they're in labor, they don't want anybody near them. A lot of goats will seclude themselves, and that's great. I have had it happen before where I've had does in labor that I've left out with the main herd, and that's fine if the goats are getting along well that day. And how do you know what's going to be happening that day, you know? So in the past, we have had goats get into a scuffle while another goat has been in labor. My goat Talia that we used to have, she actually got rammed really hard by Christine one year when Talia was in labor, and her baby had meconium and struggled a little bit on his way out. And so being able to allow them enough space to pace as well as physical distance from the rest of the goats where they can still see them, that's ideal for me. And so that's what this is, and I'm excited. It doesn't look super dark.
Yep.
This is just, you probably saw me cooking basically in the dark yesterday. This is how my kitchen is in the evening. And I think it's kind of nice. So hang on. We can't see you very well.
Do you want me to turn that light on?
No, I don't. I like this.
Okay.
Just go a little closer. What did you think of the Jerusalem artichoke?
It was good.
It was very good.
Had a good snap to it.
Yeah, even though it was sliced thinly and sauteed and essentially steamed in with the broccoli, it maintained a really nice crunch that I did not expect. You'll see people say that it's like a potato. It's not like a potato. at all.
I would not call that like a potato
It's
for anything.
not even like a radish, because that's what I expected.
It's more like a radish than a potato though.
But when a radish cooks up, it gets
softer.
a lot softer. A radish is more like a potato than the Jerusalem artichoke, in my opinion. And the flavor, it was really hard to describe because it did soak in a lot of that Worcestershire.
Everything that was in there, yeah.
But when you kept chewing it, you could really taste like a faint, to me, I could taste a faint carroty, like aftertaste. It was really pleasant. I enjoyed it a lot. And hey, how's your belly been?
Good. No problems.
Literally nobody in our family reported any like more discomfort than we would had we had cabbage with dinner, or if we had beans with dinner. You know, normal human digestive occurrences. I guess that's not what I'll call it, but I'm really happy because there are all these ways that people say that you can like defartify your fartichokes. And one of the suggestions is to soak the Jerusalem artichoke in salt water for 24 hours to kind of break down the inulin. The inulin is the fiber in the Jerusalem artichoke that can cause digestive upset in some people, but happy to report I don't think we are those people.
Nope.
And that's great because it's really easy to grow and really delicious and really good for you. So we're going to stay here in the dark and talk about that cheese. I was making this cheese while we were making dinner. And it is my first, not my first square cheese, but my first large square cheese. I've got two different square molds. The stirred curd cheddar. I haven't weighed this yet. We probably should, but I want to vac pack this and get it in the cheese cave. It says 6 pounds. Levi. It says 6 pounds.
Did you zero it out with the plate?
Yeah. See, 0?
Wow.
Look. Holy smokes. That is an amazing cheese yield. Usually you can expect about 1 pound of cheese per 1 gallon of milk when you're making cheese. And this is the result of having Nigerian milk in there and our beloved Margie. Margie has 2 high casein genes in her output. Likely the Nigerian dwarves do too. But that's excellent. Excellent yield. Wonderful. A lot of times with larger blocks of cheese, which is basically all I make, if I'm going to go through the effort, I will use as much milk as possible and make as big of a cheese as possible because it takes the same amount of time even if you have a smaller amount of milk. So I try to do as large a batch as possible, but usually I'll cut them up before I stick them in the cheese cave, but I think I'm actually going to put this one in their hole and let it age in there just like this. There are many different ways, maybe not many. Yeah, there's many different ways of which you can either wrap your cheese or not in order to age it. You could just leave it like that in a cheese cave and it would likely grow a natural rind. I'm not gonna lie, natural rinds scare me a little bit. They probably shouldn't, but I prefer to vacuum seal mine. You can also wax them. Some people will seal the cheese with lard. It's like you dip the lard in cloth and then wrap it around the cheese. That's very interesting. That also does get a little bit of mold on the outside. But the vacuum sealing has worked really well for me. I haven't made a whole bunch of cheeses that need to breathe. It was entirely too much bag. I need to go get my scissors. Here we go. I think you can see what I wrote there. Nigerians and Margie, stirred curd cheddar, 6 pounds. This is the cheese that my kids have been reaching for the most lately, and we're almost out of it. We gotta wait 3 months for this stage. Okay, I guess we'll turn the light on so we can see the cheese cave. I just increased the temperature on the cheese cave. I had it down to 35 for some of my older cheeses from last year sitting in here. But I am going to turn it up to 55 to age that stirred curd cheddar. I'm going to put that in there. These cheeses that I'm happily with the way that they've ripened, I don't need them to ripen anymore. I'm gonna move these outside to my dairy fridge so that the cheese cave can stay at 55, because I think we're in cheese season again, officially. We weren't out of it for very long. Oh, bummer. Oh. Good morning, bunnies. Oh, crap. Well, I think that's her runt. Your babies are all in. Your babies are all in. These guys are big enough, it doesn't matter. This is life, right? Wanted to come down and give you an update on our pink eye bunny. Now, as I've been treating him, I have been continually thinking that maybe pink eye is not what we're looking at. Now, obviously it looks like it, right? But normally when I treat for pink eye, it clears up. As I've been treating him for pink eye, it's been a week at this point. His symptoms really aren't getting better, so I did order some more colloidal silver. That is what is in here. It's at a 10 parts per million. But I'm noticing as I'm cleaning off his eyes that his eyelids are curled inwards. And so it got me thinking, I have seen this in dairy goats. It's called entropion, and it is genetic to have their eyelids curling in. Normally with goats, at least, you can flip the eyelid back out. You might have to do 1 or 2 more times, but it will stay outward. Now, goats are born with their eyes open. Rabbits are born with their eyes closed. And so this entropion, if that is in fact what he's dealing with, if it has been going on this long, that would explain the damage to his eye and the lack of the ability to correct it. Because even though I clean and even though I treat, he's not getting worse, and he had gotten a little bit better. There was a lot more, you know, pus happening when I first started treating him, but he's not really getting better, and I don't like that. He's still puffy, still red. He's blind, I'm pretty sure. What happens when they have entropion is their eyelid curls in, and their eyelashes and hair, it rubs up against the cornea, and that scratches the cornea, and scratched corneas can get infected, and it's a whole mess. Same general concept with the colloidal silver as it is with the antibiotic that I was putting in there. Cleaning off the eye, opening the eye, and making sure that I get the treatment into the eye. He still doesn't like this, even though I've been doing it a ton. I mean, I don't really blame him. I wouldn't like it either. So yeah, I'm wondering about that predisposition to pink eye that they say can be genetic. I wonder if it's not the propensity to get infected eyes that's genetic. I wonder if it's the entropion that's potentially genetic. Just something to think about. If you guys have suggestions for him, I'd love to hear it. Because even though he is destined for the freezer, I don't want him suffering. I want him better. I did see him eating. I did see him drinking. He's getting along great. I guess as great as he can. But still, we want the best for our animals. Oh! Did y'all see the bunny get out? That was probably on camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have all of them. Anywho, it's cold again, or finally. I don't know how long it's supposed to stay super cold, but it's officially winter now, and that's good. I'm gonna end the video here. I've got some other things that I'd like to get done today, and that will go on next week's video. I'll see you guys again soon.